So let's go over the carnage and insanity that's happening around the world today, where we are, if you're an American, as an American, or as a citizen of the world, and what's happening. All right, you're seeing the collapse of a human being here. Biden is not going to be able to handle and withstand. He doesn't have the mental capacity to withstand the challenge that's in front of him now. The only thing he can possibly do is order the military to pack their bags and retreat as quickly as possible, leading to death and destruction, right? So before we go any further, how can this moment could become even darker? Well, as the last plane leaves the Kabul airport, it gets hit with an RPG, and they'll be dragging around the survivors, in Afghanistan as all the U.S. military retreats. Before we go any further, I want to address certain things, right? There's some people still trying to link it back to Trump or something like that. That's a cruel, a savage mistake, right? Even CNN, the most disgusting news organization in the world, it had the sense to say, oh, this could be linked back to Trump. There's nothing that you could link back to Trump. He would have handled it one way or another, but he's not here. Joe Biden is here, and this is the condition that he's in. He's broken down. What could have been done? Someone asked me, what could have been done better? What is the weakness of the Taliban? The weakness of the Taliban is technology. They don't have the technology. They have now the night vision goggles and an air defense system and an air force. We had the drones and we had an Air Force base. You resupply the Air Force base by air, and you fly drones at night and you hit their locations. And the Taliban knew that. That's why they had a peace treaty in effect with Trump, where for 18 months no U.S. soldier had died. And they were waiting out Trump and hoping that somebody like this would come along so they could retake the country, because they wouldn't have been able to do that. Let's not forget, when Trump came into office, they had a Taliban training camp. Trump dropped one of the biggest bombs in the U.S. arsenal, short of nuclear weapons, and wiped that place off the map. They knew, and there's no defense. What are they going to do, shoot with the AK-47? What you don't want to do is you don't want to fight them one-on-one. They have 12 guys with AK-47s. We have 12 guys with M16s, and they duke it out until one is left. That's not the war you want to fight. You want to hit them from the air. You want to hit them in the middle of the night and exhaust them, and at the same time take the natural resources of the country, invest it in the people, and secure the location, sharpen our swords, train give our military men real world experience in war fighting. But this is all words into the wind. None of that happened. We have to look at the situation as it is, and the hypocrisy that's holding us back, and the delusion that the common man is entertaining that's preventing people from seeing what the world looks like. So let's look at what the world looks like one by one before we go to this guy. So this is Kabul. Blood and filth mixed in. As you are well aware, a bomb had exploded at the airport. Right? A massive explosion that killed 160 people packed in, fighting for their lives, trying to get out of the country. This is what that looked like. What they're standing there, these people are standing, trying to get over the fence. They're standing in sewage. Right? They're willing to stand in sewage and dirt. Right here in the United States, we're worried about all these things. We're going to talk about what we're worried about, what's the cause of this. Over there, they're just worried about getting out, and they're ready to stand in sewage to get out of there. And while standing, trying to hope to get out, this is the aftermath. All these images are graphic. These people they're just right now, the condition that they're in, and what you're seeing is they're just trying to be able to breathe and handle the shock of what just occurred to them, right? And it's important to see stuff like this. It's important to see it because it gives you the perspective of what's going on in the world. It has to shock your mind to give you, me, I can't really sit here and enjoy a good meal or be happy or joke around. Right now, my staff is giggling, joking around, having a good time. My mind is on the reality of the world because I know that I participate in the world and I have an effect of that. But everyone else just wants to chill. We're disconnected. It's okay to be disconnected. You can't solve the world's problems, so why worry about it? But on a day as dark as this, to be considerate of this country and its position and the future is something that's a dark cloud over all of our heads. So let's go over, there's some things that were said here that I wanted to go over. All right, there's a lot to it, but we're not going to find it all at once. But we're going to get to the point of what's happening here, right? It's really, it comes down to this. Now this video, now you've seen just the bare minimum of carnage that's been happening over there. Let me just see if there's one more I wanted to find and show. No, it's not here. You've seen the carnage, and this is what we're doing here in the United States. Let's look at this guy.
I'm emailing them every single day to stop putting the meat emojis in the phones. Like, it should be illegal. It's offensive to me, and it's triggering to people like me who are vegan. And it's
So this is the problem, right? This is a young man. His mind has been poisoned into thinking that meat emojis are the problem in the world, and he should, instead of dealing with real world problems, contact Apple and get them to get rid of meat emojis and beef, and he's forcing himself to be upset and forcing himself to cry. He didn't come up with this idea himself. It's this perverse society of know nothing, do nothing, unappreciative college kids and that grew up and now are enforcing problems that don't exist. And it really starts with the giggling and the this and the that while world problems are going on. Nobody wants to take responsibility and open their eyes until they're standing in a puddle full of filth and their bodies are being destroyed and exploded. A guy like this, he should be watching what's happening in Kabul, what's happening with people around the world before he's worried about emojis. There is no room in this world to worry about emojis and arbitrary triggers and things like that. It is indicative of sin that blinds people when people are doing the things that they're doing. And while we were paying attention to emojis and all these other nonsense problems that don't exist, people end up standing in a pool full of blood, and our president looks like this. Not a single person should have been so deceived to think that Joe Biden had the capacity to deal with the world's problems today. But because people are unaware of the world's problems, blinded to the world's problems, to the way the world actually is, they censor, YouTube will censor this and this and this. And if you search for Afghanistan and hashtags or so on and so forth, the number one hashtag is going to be a smiling girl with a hijab, and she's going to be there, and it's going to be a verse about peace and love. That's all a lie. That's all sugar-coated shit. There's an underlying reality, but because the bulk of humanity is unappreciative. What is his problem? He doesn't have a problem because he's a kid. He's not in control of himself. But what is the problem that got him to this point and got the world to this point? It's ingratitude. You know, if you're watching this, you should be grateful to God if you're in America and you're not at Kabul airport. Are you? Were you thinking about that? No. Was anybody thinking about that? No. They just think about what's around them and they don't care. And this is the result of that, because you don't have a proper balanced relationship with the world around you. You have ingratitude to what you have. Ingratitude makes you focus on problems that don't exist and ignore problems that do. Trust people that are deceivers, and people that are honest, you suspect of lies, right? Russian collusion here, there, so on and so forth. Well, now this is it. This man is not going to make it. What is our future going to look like from here? Joe Biden will not make it. The only thing he's trying to do now is to run out of there as fast as humanly possible and leave all of the people behind that are going to get stuck behind. He gave the list to the Taliban. His only hope, this man's only hope, is the Taliban at this point. He gave a list to the Taliban. He gave them the list of the people that are supposed to be behind there, and he's hoping that they're going to come through. They're fooling him. They knew that they couldn't do anything under Trump because he was going to hit them hard. Trump is going to hit you from miles away in the middle of the night. He's not going to send you a letter and say, hey, would you please, could you please? He knows leverage, he knows power, he knows how to use it, he was using it, he knew the military, he went to military school, he had enough to prevent that type of situation, point blank. To argue about that point, to me, is a sin. That's the way I feel about it. It's to deny reality, it's to worry about meat emojis and all sorts of bullshit and the lies, gender studies, in Iraq, it wasn't, or in Afghanistan. They wanted to force this type of shit over there. In the meantime, so what's happening behind the scenes, right? Joe Biden at one point in time said that he doesn't know, someone gave him a cue card to read, and he's just admitting that he's being controlled. Where's Obama? Where's Hillary? Where are all these leaders? Where are all their speeches? They're all distancing themselves from him. The people that are pulling the strings behind him are all pointing a finger at each other, and now he's all alone and desperate. He's running for his life out of a 20-year war, embarrassing this nation, abandoning our allies, abandoning our friends, abandoning humanity. The certain news organizations have the gall to cover for him, to say this and to say that. But even the average American at this point in time knows that that's a lie. So where is he at? He's finished. He's not going to survive the whole 4 years. This country won't survive the whole 4 years. And all of this is, to my point, is to reveal to you what the world actually looks like. Watch the meat emoji kid bitching about meat emojis, and then watch somebody get blown up and get a bullet in the back of their head and try to look for their kid's body parts all over the place, or have their 2-year-old child trampled. Think of your life to end standing in sewage by a suicide bomber. That is the way the world is at this point of time, and it is because of the sins of the multitudes of people who ignore reality and don't appreciate what they have. If people appreciated their freedom, if they appreciated their chance in life, they would focus on the problems in the world and they would solve them. But they don't appreciate it, and instead they find things to nitpick. What you're against, I'm for, just to go back and forth with you while real problems come about. And now, going forward, Joe Biden, we're going to see his collapse. We're going to see the media lie, and in the best case scenario, we're going to run out of Afghanistan. Those people are going to be forsaken. They'll hide. They'll run. We'll see it on the news media. We're going to continue arguing about emojis. The Republicans are going to take power, take revenge instead of doing what they need to be doing. And we're going to go round and round until we are standing in sewage and our body parts are falling around. That is the reality. Until we hit rock bottom, apparently people will not stop. What can you do? What can I do? I play my part. Today is a day that I could have done commercials for my jewelry business. Instead, I chose to communicate this message, share it, change the mentality, show you that to consider, to what to appreciate, to be thankful to what you have, to where these problems come from. Try to do my part. You could do the same thing. You could be a better person, and you could be a pillar and a shining light for the people around you based on whatever it is that you can. And furthermore, you share this video, or you tell somebody, or you explain to them what the hypocrisy of the world is, and maybe they'll know, maybe they won't. That is the best thing you can do. And the other thing you can do is not to be deceived ever again, which is what I'm trying to help you, by somebody, Joe Biden, some puppet somewhere. Everything they do is on the scale of Afghanistan, except we cannot see it in blood and death. The infrastructure bill, the laws, the climate, the this, the that, all will end in tears. That is the reality. You participate. If you're watching this and hear my voice, you must participate to the acknowledgement of the best that you can. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. What am I telling you? To appreciate what's around you and be wary of lies? That's just me playing my part. That's what it is. This is Trax News. I hope this message, resonates within you, and at least between myself and yourself, we'll play our part, and our souls could be at peace.